So yesterday we talked about the different ways how we can deal with the sloth and torpor hindrances, or these hindrances of sloth and torpor, or drowsiness, sleepiness, laziness of the mind, and also the um, ways where we can learn to overcome the various type of thinking, or various ways to overcome thinking. And it's good that we have some of these skills, because every retreat you will go through the same thing all over again. But the more that mindfulness that you developed, the more continuous you become, these hindrances become less. It become less. Once in a while it pops up. But for a beginner, if you don't make the effort to make the mindfulness continuous, you are just doing mindfulness in this hall only. The moment you're out of the hall, the moment you're in your room, you completely forget about mindfulness. Some of you are doing that. Even though as I mentioned again and again and again and again, somehow or another you go inside. Now, tonight we look into something else. The day we talk about in the development of this Satipatthana Vipassana, yeah, three important components that come together in order to make into a Satipatthana. That is to say, number one is the goal. The goal, the objective, the final objective of this Vipassana, which is the realization of Nibbana, or the ending of the cycle of birth and rebirth, or the eradication of all the defilements. They are all the same, similar. That is the goal. The second component, which is the noting mind, the strong, continuous noting mind, penetrative type of noting mind, mindful, concentrated, penetrative type of noting. And then the third one is the object of the noting mind, or the objects of the noting mind. Here the objects is the four foundation of objects. The day I mentioned about these objects, how important that the yogi must know which are the correct objects to take up. And you know which one is not supposed to take up for the sake of Vipassana, for the development of Vipassana. For example, like mental creation, they are not supposed to take it up. Like think that the contents of the story, creation by the mind, images, lights, this type of object, you should not take it up, because why you should not take it up? One of the things is that you cannot take it up because they lack of what we call characteristics, individual characteristic. Tonight we're going to discuss on this a little bit more. And then in the objects of the four foundation of mindfulness, they have individual characteristics. Individual characteristics means that it can be directly known by the noting mind. It is not created. You don't have to put name for it. If it's there, it's prominent, it shows it to you. And each and every one of them, they have a different characteristics. Whereas concept created by the mind, your logical thinking, your analysis and everything, all these things, they are not concrete in a sense. They don't have characteristics, individual characteristic. As I said, this concept of the mind, this analysis, this thinking, these memories of the past, planning of the future, they are just like the movie screen. There's nobody inside there, but it looks so real. There's nothing there. So tonight we'll look into the characteristics of the different objects a little bit more. And this is the gateway how we comes into Vipassana, to capture their characteristic. Now, you've been here for how many days? 8 days. Here, more or less, you can able to capture the characteristics quite a lot. When it comes to the interview, which a lot of you can able to notice the sensation of the walking, the pushing, dropping, stepping, rising, falling, pain, pulling, and so on. These are individual characteristics. The pain is different from your rising, falling, isn't it? It feels different, it looks different, they are different, but they are happening in the present moment, right? Lifting, pushing, dropping, you notice the sensation. And certain sensation, even in the lifting, pushing, dropping, they are also different. The movement itself is different from the hardness that you touch on the floor, right? So there are different individual differences that are there. So your job here, while you've been here for 1 week or so, you begin to differentiate each and every of the individual characteristic or individual nature. Hardness is hardness, movement is movement, hot or cold, something, pressure, something else. When you come to the sitting meditation, also the same thing. You notice the rising, you notice the falling. Then perhaps later part, you find there's a stiffness somewhere in the body. You notice the stiffness. So they are different. So now, because of your mind, able to differentiate all these objects clearer, all these sensations of the body, you can able to define it. And this is how you begin to go into the way of Vipassana. Now you see, generally, although we say that the Vipassana objects consist of these 4 foundation objects, you have the bodily objects, feelings object, mind objects, and also the Dhamma objects, the 4 foundations. But if we summarize them, they fall under just mental objects and bodily objects. So the bodily foundation is the body. The other 3 belongs to the mind. But Dhamma object also sometimes include a little bit on the body also. So generally, we categorize them as mind and body. Now, in the bodily objects, as I said, although theoretically all these objects can be taken up, but practically, while we are practicing, it's always safer to take up the bodily objects in the beginning of the practice, because the body doesn't think. That's the safest part. The mind can think, the mind can create. So sometimes for beginners, they do not know which one is the created one and which is the real one, because they are all overlap. So it's always safe to go to the bodily objects. Now, many of you perhaps may know, in the bodily objects, they're categorized towards the 4 elements, right? What are the 4 elements? Water, start with earth element. Earth element, you got a fire element, you got a water element, you got a wind element. Americans say water. As if like they all spell W-A-D-E-R, water. If you go to UK, water. Water. Anyway. Now, so this you have the 4 elements, all right? Of course, in the times of the Buddha 2,500 years ago, they don't categorize it as carbon or oxygen or nitrogen and all these things. They don't do that. So here we are looking at the traditional way of looking at this 4 elements. Now, in these 4 elements, this type of 4 elements, you can, generally speaking, you can divide them into 2 different types. One type is that you actually literally talking about water element. Water, water. Fire means fire, the fire that you touch, Wind, that means you can feel the breeze moving here and there. Or earth element is like ground, soil. Because we understanding this literally in that sense, because in the samatha meditation, some of the kasina meditation, we using this type of meditate. We using literally the soil for meditation. We are using the fire for meditation. Something like that. So for that, we use that for meditation. And also, general speaking, also in the general terms, they use this saying, oh, like for example, general speaking. What is general? Like your chi moving here and there. What element? Element, no, yes. Yeah. So this is all generously speaking in that sense. We talk about these elements in that sense. But in vipassana sense, the second type of how we look at elements in vipassana sense, we are looking at its figurative understanding, not literal understanding. Figurative in the sense that, for example, that day I mentioned, if you notice the wind element, what does it signify? Movement, right? It signifies the movement. Now, where is the movement when we do the practice? Rising, falling is the movement. Lifting, pushing, dropping is the movement. You stretch out your hand is the movement. You turn your head is a movement. You make a turning is a movement. So this, for example, this one, it's a literally, no, it's a figuratively. It signify, when you say the wind element, it signify something like that, not the wind in that sense. So let's go one by one. When you say earth element, what does it mean, earth element? Hard, something hard, something soft. Now, in all elements, in all these four elements, you can kind of like divide them into a range, not just hard and not just soft. Everything in between hard and not so hard, less hard, a bit soft, very soft. It's a range of things. It's a range of this one. So when we use the word earth element, you must expand your mind that this is part of hardness and softness and all this in between. Okay, so this is how we notice when we use the word earth element in the vipassana meditation. Say for example, you sit down, then you notice something very hard on the leg there. Yes, it's painful, but something hard there. And then hard, then this is earth element. But while we are noting it, we don't go and think, what element is that? Earth element, or fire element? No, you're going to think about that now. This is to direct you that at least you are taking up a correct object. Okay? You notice that this is a correct object. It can be directly known at that moment of time. Yeah? Because sometimes when you just use the word bodily object, a lot of people may not, what is bodily object? Yeah. So you didn't define it. You have to define it. You notice that one, you know that is the right object, you know it's a heart, but you don't have to analyze in terms of logical thinking, or your intellectual thinking. Just notice it as heart. And if you feel something soft, like for example, if you notice your rising, falling, soft, very nice, pleasant, then you notice soft, or rising, falling, and you feel the softness is there. You know that you are in the correct objects, right objects. And you're walking, you feel the softness of the walking. Then you notice that this also is a manifestation of earth element. Yeah? But we don't have to think about it whether it's earth, again, this one. So you have that range. Then you have fire element. What is the fire element then? Heat and cold. Heat and cold. Here again, this time, this retreat is good because you have heat, you have cold, you have a range. And it becomes significant. Those are significant. You come to Malaysia, it's one-sided. You're hot in here. You don't feel any much of a coolness here. Whereas you see, again here, fire element, you have warm, you have cold, or hot, cold. And that cold also, a lot of times we don't notice them. We notice the hot element. The moment the hot element, we pull out everything. We forget to note them. When it's cold also, it's the same thing. We forget to note them. Although heat and warmth, they may be, they change. For example, it was cold, and then when the heat starts to come in, you feel quite nice. You feel quite pleasant, and the pleasantness comes together with the heat element, with the warmness right now, pleasantness. But it grows warmer. What happened? it becomes unpleasant. So too, the cold also the same thing. It's warm and then you feel some coolness coming in, you feel pleasant, but it gets colder, or it prolong, then you're a bit suffering. So things will change. So it would be good that we begin to notice these elements. And we notice this warm, cold, not so warm, not so cold, and sometimes it comes with pleasantness, unpleasantness too. Then you have the water element. What is meant by water element here? Water element here, yeah, it feels like sticky. Yeah, it feels sticky. Now here, water element is this one. It's like combining and dispersing. It come together and it disperse. Yeah, sometimes you feel like your leg are actually sticky. For example, maybe you wear socks, you don't feel it. Yeah? If you take out the socks, and then you feel some degree of stickiness there. But of course, they won't allow over here. Yeah. And the nature of this stickiness, you see, this water element, according to Abhidhamma, you cannot directly note them. You cannot directly note them, but they are there. It's by through an inference only, actually. Even you notice stickiness, or let's say you sit there and it's sweating. You feel sweating. Actually, what you notice is something moving. You're not noting the sweat now, but you think it's a sweat. You think that it is a sweat, but you feel something moving there. Then you feel some coolness or warmness like moving around. Or the tears come out. If you note them, it's just only movement and sensation only. You don't notice the water in that sense. It's what you infer that to be water. So it's still okay, we go into too much technical thing. But if you notice that crying, it's still okay. Sweating, still alright. Yeah. Not too worried about it. Even you say that this is water element, fine. Conceptually, you are still correct. Yeah. Yeah. Now the to give you an example, this dispersing and holding together, it's like, for example, you want to bake a cake. You buy the flour and you mix with water, and then you then you feel that it's not enough, then you add some more. As you add some more, it gets more sticky. It gets right. You feel that enough. But if you were to add more water inside the dough, right, what happened to it? It gets more and more. It gets disperse everything. Like when we do sometimes the cement that you want to do for the wall, for the foundation, concrete, then you need enough water. If you take too much water, then you cannot able to hold everything together. So too, like conceptually, this body of ours are held together by water. All our ligaments, everything, because you need that cohesion. It holds everything together. Yeah. If you have a big oven, let's say, and I were to put you inside there, the oven, and I turn up very hot, bake you inside there, long enough, you be dead and dry. Huh? By the time you dry up, everything will be dispersed. Long enough, everything will disperse. Just like somebody died and you put them in the cremation fire. Yeah, within half an hour, all gone. Yeah. So everything dries up because here, when it dries up, everything disperses. So to the body, technically speaking, that the body is being held by the water, so that all these things are coming. They give you that shape, and that everything is there doing its function. Yeah? Sometimes also in the meditation practice, as if like for example, you were to do the walking meditation, and then at that time, let's say you touch on the floor, you feel that sometimes like different toes feel like different sensation. Maybe this toe is this sensation, that toe is holding another one, and then that one is like a bit pricky like that, another one, which is good because your mind is really powerful and sharp. You can able to notice different sensation, different hardness or softness or warmness happening within an area, within the under the soul there. In other words, all this sensation are there at at that space, at that space. So, in other words, the by inference, although you notice hard or soft or warm or cold, but they are all in a single area. Cohesion. They're holding everything together. Yeah? So that is what it means by water element. Then you have the wind element. Now the wind element is the moving element, something that is moving. And if it's moving, that means the other end is something still, stiff, for example. They call it distension, movement, distension, or something like that. Something still and moving, and everything is in between. So you sometimes you notice that your tension somewhere. You notice a rising and falling. Sometimes the rising and falling become very tense up. It's as if like it's not moving. Wind element too. It's not just only moving only. Sometimes you walk, and then your body gets tense up. Wind element also. It doesn't move, but kind of like stand there, tension. Yeah, sometimes you sit in this position, in your cross-legged position. Your body is upheld. Wind element also. Yeah, it gives you the stiffness. It gives you the tension that everything is hold together. Yeah, in that sense. Now, this all these elements, these four elements are all very closely interrelated. In reality, they are all very closely interrelated. Now, take for example, earth element. What does it, earth element, what does it function? It functions by giving a foundation for the other three elements. It gives a foundation, just like the earth of the world, that when you have that ground, everything can stand, everything can grow, you can live. So too, the earth element of the body gives you in that way. Mm, mm. Like for example, our bones. The bones like is hard, and you all these bones. This is where all your muscles is all connected. They give you your shape, your height. It give you all the organs all kind of like connected. So because of they have that structure. If you don't have all the bones, then you don't have the shape. So you kind of like it give you figuratively that they're all being supported by the earth element. Earth element. Yeah. The fire element. Then it gives you the heat, the warmness. Here in the in the olden days, they used for example, the heat. The heat is like, it makes things mature. That's why you grow older. That's why you and also that's why you can able to digest the food. They give you some of the examples. You can digest the food because of the heat element is there. If if there's no enough warmth of the body, then food will not be able to be digested. Uh, Sometimes they use the word. Sometimes you use this like fever. Sometimes you feel very heaty, feverish. Sometimes you feel very cold, shivering. That sense. Yeah. So, other words, it mature the other three elements. Yeah, it matures the other three elements. Then what water here is that it holds together. It holds together the other three elements together. Cohesion. And wind element, it moves all the other three elements. Because, of course, when you start walking, doesn't mean that here your earth element go and then your wind element still, or your fire element still behind. Everything goes together. Yeah. So it moves everything together. This is how the way that we look into the elements. And to understand this is important because as we grow into the deeper aspect of Vipassana, a lot of times you'll see how these elements are interacting with each other. They are not just like, okay, I just want to note the wind element only. I want to just note movement only. No. Everything will start coming together if the mind becomes clearer. That's why we have to know that all these elements, they are all closely interact with each other. Another thing about these elements is that between these four elements, because between these four elements, you see that the primary objects that we are using for the practice is what element? What is the primary object? Exactly. You see, why we are more concentrated, are more looking into the wind element rather than just like a stiffness, hardness, and so on. Yeah. So rising, falling is wind element. In breath, out breath is wind element. Lifting, pushing, dropping, wind element. And all of them falls under like a primary objects. Right? Now, here by practice, over time, by experience, we know that for yogis, especially for beginner yogis to develop, the wind element usually is more prominent compared to the other three elements. Because it's prominent. That's why we look into the wind element. By practice, we know that if you are not in the practice, sometimes people say, oh, we got four elements, you can start with anything. No, it's not easy. Theoretically, yes. Practically, very difficult. Very difficult. You're going to look for your heat element. How are you going to start? Sit in the sun. Hot, 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 hot. How long your body can take it? Or put yourself in the fridge. You cannot take it. You cannot take those elements in the beginning part of it. You cannot take like something very hard, very stiff. Cannot. It's not there all the time. So you have to take something. It can more or less consistent more of the time. You're breathing. You have to be alive. So something is moving. Something is moving. As long as something is moving continuously, then it is good for primary objects. Uh, and there's another type of meditation. They use the hand movement, and then the hand movement, very coordinated hand movement, They call it vipassana too, and it's not to say that they are wrong, they use the hand. So some way, I can't remember how they do it, but as long as you notice it, you are noticing it carefully, then it turns into vipassana too. Yeah? It turns into vipassana. It's just like you're walking. You're walking. This time it's just a hand movement. Yeah? So, but the thing is that how long can you walk? How long can you move the arms? And that also needs some energy. After some time, you find that it's going to be difficult. So some yogis ask me, Bhante, walking meditation is good. Can I walk more than 1 hour or not? Can I walk more 1.5 hours? Your body will tire. When you're tired, then you come in the sitting, nothing is going to be clear. So you do just enough. Just enough. 1 hour generally for most people, if you don't have any injury, it is good enough for you. Once in a while, if it's good, give you another 5-10 minutes. It's okay, but don't overdo the walking meditation. Just like everything else, sometimes I use the word, don't overcook your meditation. Don't overdo everything. Just enough. 1 hour, more or less enough. Of course, during the Buddha's time, where got clock? They don't have clock. They don't have clock. But somehow or another, in their commentaries, their time is like a joystick, So you burn the joystick. So you finish that joystick, roughly it's also about 1 hour, 1.5 hours, isn't it? So you can do it as the length is this one. So there's one way. There's one way. Um. So the wind element, the movements itself, they are significant. They are significant elements. The Buddha mentioned about these elements. There are 6 types of wind element. One of it is the upward movement, upward wind. When it's used the word upward wind, for example, it's like when you burp, one type, when you vomit, for example, movement, something moving, something come out. That is also upward movement. And then you have downward wind. Downward wind is like when you fart, when you let go of a gas, when you defecate, when you urinate, something come out, because all these things needs movement, right? So they give you the 2 types. But these 2, you cannot do it all the time, right? It's impossible. You keep on urinating. That cannot. But that doesn't mean that. That means, other words, urinating, defecating can be used as a meditation object too when you are doing it. Yeah. Other words, when you are in the toilet, in the toilet, you sit there, you be mindful with it. Not just sit there, so good, nobody sees me. I can do whatever I want. No. The instruction of the Buddha is that you are defecating, urinating, be mindful, be alert, be aware. So these are also wind element, but we cannot use them as a primary object. Yeah? And then the Buddha used also like a in-breath, out-breath. In-breath, out-breath as an element, as a wind element, as a one kind of wind element. So this in-breath, out-breath is here, the nostril area. When in, out, over here. Yeah? That's another one. So 3, 4. When you eat something, food beverage, water go into the intestine and it's moving inside the intestine, go up, go down, go here, go there. It's about 5 meter. 5 meter, maybe about 15 feet, 16, 17 feet, of your intestine before it defecate out. Like quite a long thing, inside here, in order for us to digest the food. So that is also one kind of wind element, according to the Buddha. But can you use that as a meditation object? Cannot, because you cannot feel it, right? You cannot feel it. Once in a while, perhaps maybe indigestion. Unpleasant. But you don't have it all the time. So you cannot feel that one. Now, another one is the fifth one, is the movement of the abdomen itself. The rising and falling of the abdomen, not the stomach internally moving of the food. This one is, as you all know, is the moving of the diaphragm, and then it push out or it goes up. Some people go up a little bit, some people go forward, backward, rise and fall, or up or down. Something is moving there, but it's not the internal one. So this is another element. So this one, it happens all the time. Breathing happens all the time. So this is a two good element to use. The rising and falling, the Buddha mentioned, the Buddha. Some people say, Buddha didn't mention rising and falling. No, the Buddha didn't mention. No, the Buddha mentioned rising and falling. The next one, the sixth one. The sixth one is the movement, general movement of the body. That means your hands moving, your legs moving, your blood circulating, and everything is moving, everything. The whole body is moving. This one we can use as a primary object also, but this one we also cannot use it for too long. Like walking, we cannot use it for too long, but good enough so that good enough to develop the mindfulness, and also enough and not too much until the body tired. So you basically, two in breath, out breath, movement of the stomach, movement of the rising and falling, the second one, and the third one is the movement of the arms, the legs, the limbs, and so on. So that one, those things can be used as primary objects. So that's why we use this as a primary object more often than not. Now, when we use this primary object, and as I said again, your mind has to keep on going on to all these physical bodily objects, phenomena. It goes into it again and again. You go direct your mind into the walking, sitting, stepping, touching, and you define them. You define them, not thinking, but define them through your direct observation. This is hardness, this is softness, this is warmness, this is coldness, this is movement, this is rise, this is fall, this is go this way, it goes that way. Sometimes for some yogis, rising, falling may not be at the stomach here, maybe at the chest here. Is something moving there. And yes, it's okay to take up, no problem. One day I hear people rising, falling is the stomach, but my one is the chest area. Am I right or wrong? Just, of course, you're still alive. You're right now. You just watch. Just watch. There's no problem. Some people just different. Some yogis have some yogis have even lower. Somewhere lower to the, so not so too upper. There's something moving there. Take note of it. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. So that's why, as I said, Vipassana, you need to define the objects in order for you to progress further. And you define it carefully. So this one is under characteristics of the body. So you keep on defining them. So as I said, they are all having individual characteristics. They are different. Rising, falling, movement itself, they are different. Lifting, pushing, dropping, movement, they are different. Pressing, pulling, hot, cold, hard, soft, all of them have different characteristics. So this is called the individual characteristics, or the Pali word is Sabhava Lakkhana. Sabhava. We don't have to define too much. Just for you to understand there is individual characteristics, and for Vipassana to enter into Vipassana, then we have to define the characteristic. We have to notice the characteristic distinctively. That's why right in the beginning of a retreat, you have been taught, pay attention to your lifting, pushing, dropping, here, hard, soft, rising, falling, again and again, because we want to push you into the path of Vipassana. If you are not doing Vipassana, you don't go through that way. Vipassana is to notice this way in order for it to progress further. If you are doing, let's say, when you go back, you do metta meditation, you do anapana meditation, you do karuna or compassion meditation, or you do other forms of meditation. They don't look at all these individual characteristics. So you got to define them carefully. For example, if you do like loving kindness meditation or metta meditation, then a lot of times you use concept in order to bring about that metta. May he be well and happy. So you are forming a words. Those sentence mentally, you put that sentence there, then to bring about the quality of metta in the body, from the heart. But you are not looking at how the quality of metta is like. Is it big, small, fast, slow, changing? No, you don't do that. You just learn to let it come up with it. Yeah. So very different. Vipassana practice is a very different practice from all these things. And Vipassana practice can only be started by the Buddha. From there, and then only you can roll it down to one generation after generation until right now. So in all the Vipassana practice, in all the practice of the Buddhism, this one is the most difficult. This practice is the most difficult. That's why, as I said, not many people would like to come for this retreat. Very tough, very demanding. You need a lot of discipline. You need to have a lot of push, a lot of endurance. You have to go through a lot of challenges, pain, and so on and so forth. A lot of people don't want that. A lot of people just want calm, peaceful, nice, that type of meditation. So, I'm not, over the years, I said I'm never afraid that this retreat is going to get more people. Less also is easier for me also actually. Less, easier to teach also. Too many people. At one time, there were 70 yogis. I interviewed from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 p.m. in the afternoon. Just 1 hour rest only, just to recuperate. And then by 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 1 hour rest. Oh no, 6 p.m., 8 p.m. Dhamma talk already. No, 7 p.m. Dhamma talk. 6 p.m. I stop. Then 1 hour, 7 Dhamma talk already. For 1 week. And that time also, no, the sore throat also. So, but that one is a holiday season. Anyway, most of the time, about 20-30 only. So this is difficult. So, as I said, individual characteristics is important that you have to remember when you come to Vipassana. You have to look and do it again and again. Now, Let's move on to the next one. The mental individual characteristics. Now, just now we talked about the body. Now we talk about the mental part of it. Now, the mental part of it, let's start off with the feelings. The feelings. The beginning part of the meditation, feelings also significant to the yogis. And especially the feelings of the unpleasant feelings. Pain. And they are significant to the yogi. Now, inner feelings, you can divide them into pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and the direct translation is called neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling. In other words, we just use the word neutral feelings for now, or equanimous feeling. Usually they use the word neutral feelings. Neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Now, these neutral feelings, they are, feelings in terms of Vedana, they are always present. It's either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. When, say, for example, right now, there's no pain here, there's no cold, there's no warmth, but that feeling is there, but it's not prominent. It's there, they are there, but they are not prominent. Most of the time they are in the background. So we don't have to go and look for that neutral feelings. Okay? Pleasant feelings. Again here, the pleasant feelings that comes in. Now, the pleasant feelings can be connected to the bodily pleasant feelings or mental pleasant feelings. Okay? So for example, the pleasant feelings of the body. You sit down, as I said, when the coolness comes in, then it becomes pleasant. Then you feel the pleasantness that's connected with the body. Now, say for example, you notice the coolness. You notice cool, but yet at the same time, the pleasantness becomes obvious. So that pleasantness also, you got to notice that pleasant, cool, or warm, pleasant. If it's pleasant, so you got to notice them too. And that pleasantness, although it's connected with the body, but it belongs to the mind. It belongs to the mind. A dead person, still got the bones or heart, rigor mortis, you know what is rigor mortis? Sometimes after a few hours you die and your whole body stiffen up, so the hardness still there, but no more feelings. I think so lah. I'm not sure until you are dead, then only you know. Yeah. So the body still can get hard and stiff and so on. So the body is being held up together by the water, but perhaps that they're already reborn in other worlds and all that thing already, other level, other realms of existence. Who knows, But the body is still there, maybe, yeah. So the feelings, but they don't have feelings for the dead person. So while we are here, because of the mind that we have, we still have feelings. It comes hot, hard, soft. Then we can feel it's pleasant, unpleasant, and so on. Now, when it comes to unpleasant, this one is more significant for the yogis to notice these unpleasant feelings. Some of you like every sitting, but I cannot already. Every sitting, all pain. But I'm quite happy for you, although you're suffering there. Because at least I know you're doing something right. Rather than you sit there, Bhante is so nice, so pleasant. I just say for there's something wrong already. You go through all the pain, at least you're paying attention to, Bhante, the pain now pulling here, and then turning here, pressing here, turning there. This is good because you are noticing the individual characteristic of the pain. You notice the hardness, you notice the tension, you notice how it moves here, you notice the unpleasantness, the different types of unpleasantness. Sometimes you can notice numbness pain and the sawing pain or the twisting pain. All they are different, right? Which is good. Although you suffer there, but it's actually a good development. And usually this pain comes in, usually the strong, the clear type of pain that comes in after you have developed some degree of mindfulness. And if you don't have this mindfulness, this pain doesn't look so painful. It's quite easier actually. It doesn't, I mean, the moment it's painful, you cannot take it anymore. You already let go of your leg already. So let's say at home you meditate. Every time at home meditate, the pain comes in, what do? Oh, enough. You get up already. Yeah? Whereas here, the bell hasn't rang yet. Then you sit. The more that you sit, you know that you notice, the more that it becomes clearer for you to see. And the moment you stop noting on the pain, sometimes you will notice that the pain is actually not so painful. It's quite okay. Not so painful. And it's because of that mindfulness that you have, that you put the attention there. Everything is magnified. That your pain is magnified. Why is it need to be magnified? Because for you to see its true characteristic. If things is not clear, how are you going to notice what the characteristic is like? Just like a microscope, you want to notice what the cells is like, what the nucleus is like, or whatever is inside the cell. You need to have a powerful microscope in order for you to diagnose what is going on, to see what is going on inside there. So too, the mindfulness is the same thing. You need to have that mindfulness in order for you to notice the pain, which is strong, different type of pain moving here and there, getting more, getting less, it change here and there until the hour is up. And it's good for you. A lot of times, of course, also in the beginning part, when the beginning of my retreat, I also don't understand why my teacher keep on asking me to go through the pain. Pain here, pain there, morning pain, afternoon pain, night pain, tomorrow is the same thing again. Until after 3 or 4 days, then before you sit down, you already feel already. The pain is going to come. But we go through it anyway. Until later part, we begin to learn that all these individual characteristics that you notice is going to develop into something more clearer for you to see. So as I said, individual characteristic of this thing, you pay attention to them. You notice them, how the pain is like pulling, and don't give up as best as you can until the hour is up. That's your contract. You sign up the contract with me. So you stay with it. Yeah, you stay with it. You persevere to notice all these things. Yeah? The more you notice this pain, the more you notice, then you stay there, notice the individual characteristic, and sometimes you'll notice that if you can really pay attention to the pain, as the pain sometimes it move about, actually your body, your mind can tolerate it. It's not as painful as you think, but still painful, but you can take it, which is good because it shows that some degree of mindfulness has been developed through the walking, sitting, or through the days. That you can able to notice how the pain is moving here and there, changing from one pain to another pain, this pain, that pain, which is good. Normally, they develop mostly, not normally only, but mostly, development of the vipassana, especially in the beginning part of the development is the process of seeing the nature of the pain, the development process of it. For most people, is the seeing the pain, the different characteristic of the pain. They are a very significant part of your meditation object. But later part, pain can still arise as long as you have this body. There will always one kind of pain or the other. You cannot run away from the pain. Make sure that you don't have the minor or the wrong understanding, thinking now I got pain. Maybe 10 years later I meditate, no more pain already. I'm above pain already. There's no such thing one now. As long as the body is still here, there's always be pain. The Buddha also feel the pain. What about all of us? Yeah? So it'll be good that you notice this different characteristic of the pain again and again. Yeah? All right. So what we do is that we stop here for tonight. Yeah? We will continue this talk not tomorrow but on the following day. Yeah? On the following day. So today is a Wednesday night. So Thursday, no. So the Friday night, we'll continue on this talk. And then we'll see by understanding this or noticing this characteristic, we see how the vipassana will progress further. Yeah? But the beginning part is to notice all these different individual characteristic. Okay? So we stop here.